There's a moment in every summer day when the sun begins to slow down, when the colors turn syrup thick and the horizon trembles like it's exhaling. That's when I like to drive, when the heat finally loosens its grip, and the highway starts to sound less like work and more like a song you almost remember. Tonight, the air is warm enough to breathe without thinking about it, and the truck feels like part of the landscape. One hand on the wheel, window half down, and miles of amber light spilling through the mirrors. This is the hour when drivers stop chasing time and start keeping it company. The smell of tar still fresh from the afternoon heat drifts through the vents, blending with the low thrum of diesel beneath me. Every few seconds the tires hum against patched asphalt. Not music, exactly, but something close enough to make you hum along. The dashboard glows in gentle oranges. Each gauge holds its tiny halo of light, swaying with the movement of the cab as I roll along Interstate 40 somewhere west of Nashville. Outside, the air looks golden, the kind of gold you can't capture. Just live inside for a few short miles before night paints over it. I ease the window further down, let the warm breeze press against my arm. It smells of grass drying along the shoulder, the faint sweetness of clover stirred by passing wind. Cicadas pulse in waves from the dark green fields beyond the ditch, their rhythm matching the heartbeat of the engine. The headphones hanging off the mirror sway slightly with each bump in the road, catching the sunset light and flashing tiny sparks back at me. Somewhere out there, another rig overtakes, the strange thunder of a 12-liter engine echoing across lanes, his chrome catching my reflection for a second before disappearing ahead. I click the CB to life. Static, then a lazy voice.
"Evening, Redbird. How's the air up your way?"
I smile. It's Jimmy from Tulsa. Met him 2 summers ago hauling grain through Amarillo. Air's thick, partner, I say, voice rasping with the day, like syrup on steel. You rollin' east? He laughs, a slow drawl. I'm rollin' toward coffee, brother. And the radio breathes back into quiet laughter, both of us smiling into the dark like the sound itself kept the world alive. Downshifting lightly, I feel the familiar vibration through the seat, the truck's way of stretching after long hours. She answers the touch like an old friend, steady, strong, grateful for easy miles after a day of hard sun. Clouds ahead smear to wine-red streaks. The edges of the world melt together. Every farm light that flickers on looks like an anchor dropped into the coming night. And in those first moments of cooling air, I can feel the change begin. Summer evening leaning quietly toward nightfall. Somewhere beyond the tree line, crickets take over from cicadas. Their softer rhythm slows everything down. Traffic thins to shadows and sparks of light. The asphalt stops radiating heat and exhales its stored breath against the tires. A sigh too low for anyone but drivers to hear. I ease into the right lane. There's no hurry now, just the road unwinding its stories. Each reflector along the shoulder catches and releases light like a heartbeat made of glass. For the first time all day, the wheel feels lighter under my palms. This is the hour we all wait for, the hour when machines turn kind, when engines soften their growl, when the CB turns from chatter to murmurs, when the first stars appear inside mirrors before you even think to look up. I take another sip of coffee, now lukewarm and perfect, the smell of roasted beans mixing with diesel, leather, and faint aftershave. A driver's cologne, the scent of miles. And as the last streak of daylight folds behind the far hills, I find myself smiling at nothing in particular, maybe at everything, because summer nights like this remind you the real journey isn't distance. It's the peace you find between mile markers. By the time I reach the outskirts of Jackson, the light has thinned into a velvet dusk. The horizon holds only one long ribbon of tangerine fading into violet. Truck stops begin to glow like little towns, a cluster of sodium lamps, the gleam of chrome, the hum of refrigeration units lined like sleeping beasts. I flick the signal, roll off the interstate, and follow the gravel crunch of the frontage road. The sign overhead buzzes faintly in the thick air. Rest and fuel, 24 hours. It's not much. 2 pumps, a tiny diner, and an older attendant leaning on a broom outside. But the familiar smell of diesel, cooked onions, and asphalt cooling beneath the lamps feels like home. I park behind a gleaming Kenworth, air brakes sighing, trailers settling heavy behind me. The sound ripples through the lot. Every driver knows that sound. Relief. Machines resting. Men about to do the same. When I swing the door open, warm air brushes my face. It still carries some of the day's heat. A low, living warmth mixed with the sweetness of spilled fuel and dust. Crickets sing somewhere behind the line of parked rigs. Fuel pumps click in slow rhythm. Overhead, the first stars climb into view, timid but sure. Inside the diner, the light is soft, gold-edged. It smells of coffee and fried bacon. The linoleum glistens where the last mop stroke hasn't yet dried. A jukebox by the door hums quietly under static, half alive with a faint song from a forgotten decade. Every truck stop in America sounds different, but somehow identical. Jimmy's already there, hunched over 2 mugs, eyes catching the neon reflection through the window. He raises a hand, that slow grin breaking through his beard. "You made it, brother." Like I had anywhere else to be, I reply, taking the opposite seat. The waitress appears, silver hair, kind eyes, name tag reading May. "All right, darling. Coffee or decaf tonight?" she asks, though she already knows the answer. "Real stuff, please," I say. "You got that lemon pie left?" "For good boys only." She smirks and winks, disappearing behind the counter. Jimmy laughs until the table trembles. She's been saying that since Carter was president. We talk about miles, freight, the new way station cameras that make everyone nervous. Little talk that means everything when you've spent the last 8 hours in the hum of your own thoughts. Outside the window, another convoy glides past on the highway, headlights in a line, moving like migrating fireflies. "You staying out tonight?" Jimmy asks. I shake my head. Figure I'll roll for a bit. Want the cooler air before I park up. He nods slowly, sipping his coffee with reverence. Best time there is. May returns, sliding the pie in front of me. Lemon thick enough to hold a spoon upright, crust breaking like warm sugar glass. I take one slow bite. Sweet, tart, pure summer. It tastes the way evening sounds. For a few minutes we eat in silence, listening to the deep, steady pulse of idling engines outside. That sound has never tired me. It's a reminder that people are out there, sharing the same road, breathing the same tired satisfaction. A symphony of motion turned rest. When I step out again, the difference hits me. The night has bloomed. Temperatures tilting downward, the air now softer, thicker with humidity. Every light in the lot has a halo around it. Moths flutter through the glow, their wings reflected in puddles that still hold the day's heat. I pause on the step, just to feel the night against my skin. You can smell everything clearer when the sun's gone. Rain that won't come till tomorrow, diesel vapors folded into summer wind. And somewhere, faint sweetness from a field of honeysuckle past the fence. Jimmy leans against his truck, lighting a cigarette. He cups the flame with calloused hands, staring at it like it's an old superstition. You ever notice, he says, how quiet the world gets once the sun stops judging it? Every night, I answer. We stand like that a moment. Two men, two trucks, one silence large enough to live inside. He tosses the match, nods. Safe miles, Redbird. I tap the door of my rig. See you down the line. When the door closes, the cab greets me like a womb of low humming light. Gauges glowing, faint draft through the vents carrying that half-sweet odor of diesel and road dust. I turn the key. The engine wakes in a deep rolling purr, then settles to idle. Headlights spill forward into darkness, catching insects and drifting grains of dust amber bright. Pulling back onto the highway, I fall into rhythm again, smooth, hypnotic, alive. The world beyond the windshield now belongs to night alone, and it welcomes me like an old friend. Mile markers blink green through the dark. A radio voice floats by, someone singing country halfway between heartbreak and happiness. The dashboard trembles gently beneath my elbows. My left arm out the window, the air warm enough to feel like touch. Out here, you share the sky, every truck drawing its own path of light through the same darkness. Sometimes I imagine we're fireflies mapping a secret code across the continent, a language visible only to those half awake, half dreaming at 60 miles an hour. I glance upward. The moon lingers low, a dull copper coin, heavy with humidity. A good omen. It means the night won't turn. I breathe in deep, taste diesel and summer air, and let the hum of the road speak the rest. Night on a southern highway has its own temperature, not measured in degrees, but in tones. The air hums lower, the world widens out. You can almost feel every mile of gravel shoulder pressing against the dark, holding the road in place. The moon lifts higher, pale gold through thin summer haze. Bugs streak across the windshield like falling stars. Each one catches the lights before vanishing into dust. I watch them without reaction. Not joy, not boredom, just noticing. The kind of awareness that comes only after silence settles deep enough to feel like company. The CB crackles again. A voice slow and calm slides through the static. Breaker 19, who's out westbound near Little Rock. I push the button. Redbird here, still rolling. You? A pause, then a soft laugh. Who else? It's June from Amarillo. Her voice sounds the same as last summer, warm as coffee, laced with dust. We met once at a way station waiting for paperwork. She drives flatbed, hauls lumber mostly, small woman with skin the color of sunlight through molasses. I picture her trucks parked somewhere ahead, lights stretched along the curve of the horizon. Guess the night pulled both of us back out. Yeah, she replies, roads too quiet to ignore. You running light? Half load, nothing urgent, just chasing the breeze. She chuckles. Ain't that what we're all doing? Her laugh fades back into the static, but I leave the CB on just to listen to the background. Other voices drifting like faint tides. Weather reports, jokes, road warnings, old songs whistled into cheap microphones. It feels like community made of air. A rest area sign flashes by. I glance at it, but keep rolling. The engine hum is perfect now, solid, steady, resting on the sweet note just before strain. In this heat, metal breathes differently. You can almost smell it. Warm steel, rubber softening on pavement, oil sharp as pepper in the back of your throat. I reach for a new cup from the thermos. Coffee gone thin, but still tasting of burned roast and thyme. It settles easy. Inside the cab, lights from passing towns reflect across chrome. Each window flicker paints short movies I never stop to name. Motels, billboards, parking lots glowing like distant ships. The road tilts slightly downhill, and the hum of tires deepens into a comfort too rhythmic to fight. That's when memories tend to surface, unannounced, unspectacular, just fragments unrolling with the asphalt. I remember my first truck, an old Peterbilt with a heater that barely worked and a bench seat torn at the seams. I was 19 and foolish. Thought endurance meant staying awake for 2 days straight. I carried watermelons from Georgia that time, the whole rig perfumed with their sweetness until it made me dizzy. One night, I parked under open stars, and the smell mixed with dew and dust so thick I thought I'd never breathe normal air again. Good memories come like that, suddenly, quietly, clear as glass. The hum of the present blends into the hum of the past until it's hard to tell which is which. Maybe that's why some of us can't stop driving. The road keeps every version of ourselves alive in layers. You can pass the same mile marker 10 years apart and still feel the echo of who you were then whispering back at you. Out the windshield, another convoy appears. 3 tankers running steady formation, lights tracing perfect geometry across the dark. They don't feel like strangers. They might as well be kin. We wave headlights, the language all drivers know. No words, just recognition between moving souls. When they're gone, I lower the window again. The wind rushes in hot, wrapping around me with scents of wild grass. The metallic tang from far-off train tracks. The faint sweetness of something blooming unseen along the ditches. Maybe night jasmine, maybe memory. I turn the CB dial idly. For a minute I land on a gospel station from Arkansas. The singer half buried in static, but the voice clear enough to carry comfort. Something about grace. Something about home being anywhere light touches metal. I let it play. My truck hums harmony underneath, a low rumble fitting itself quietly into the chords. Passing a rest stop half full of sleeping rigs, I feel the familiar temptation to pull in, just to sit still for a while. Maybe trade stories over vending machine coffee. But the night is too good. That sweet middle stretch between weary and awake doesn't come often. So I choose the open road and keep the tires talking. June's voice slips through again, faint but clear. Redbird, you hear about Pete? Blew a radiator by Memphis. Nah, I answer, smiling at the thought. Figures. Man's truck running on more prayers than coolant. He's fine, she replies, laughter twinkling through the static. Parked up, bragging he planned it that way. We both laugh, the sound riding the airwaves long after our words fade. It's amazing how laughter sounds larger at night, spreads out, joins the wind, makes the world gentler. Eventually the CB quiets again. Only the white hiss remains, steady, endless, like the ocean that some of us may never see, but still believe in by sound alone. I pass another junction, a cluster of neon signs, each buzzing letter shedding tiny halos into the humid air. Diner, fuel, cold drinks, showers. The scent of cooking grease drifts faintly into the cab as I roll by. And for a heartbeat, I picture the people inside. A waitress wiping counters, A family counting change for pie. Other drivers leaning over coffee, arms heavy from the wheel. It's oddly comforting, knowing life keeps moving at its own small scale while mine stretches 100 miles wide. The engine shivers once as the grade steepens again. I downshift, the gears answering with a contented hum. The truck feels alive, each cylinder a quiet heartbeat, each vibration threading through my spine until we breathe together, driver and machine, traveler and home. Up ahead, the sky deepens into midnight blue. Heat lightning blooms far off across the plains. A silver ribcage of light flickering behind invisible clouds. It doesn't bring thunder, just illumination. Brief, soft flashes washing the world in momentary daylight. I focus on the horizon, where the road seems to vanish into that light. There's no destination tonight that matters. The driving itself is enough. When you've been out here long enough, distance becomes another word for meditation. Every mile of thought, every rumble strip a gentle reminder to return to the present. And the present is kind. The air, the hum, the feel of tires sliding over small imperfections. It all blurs into one calm. Another 50 miles, maybe 60, and I'll look for a turnout. For now, I let the cruise hum steady and lean back. The seat groans softly beneath me, the upholstery warm from my back. The steering wheel smooth under my fingertips feels like skin worn by friendship. Outside, the stars grow sharper. The Big Dipper rides low. The Milky Way unfurls faintly across the windshield. No other rig in sight now, only the quiet breathing of the land. There's a point on these long drives when thoughts begin to move slower than wheels, and you realize the night has changed you a little. You've gone from earthbound to something closer to drifting, half awake, half prayer, entirely free. The CB hisses softly like waves on a distant shore. I let it lull me, each crackle, each breath of static, telling me I'm never entirely alone on this road. The first sign of morning comes as a question rather than a certainty. A whisper of gray at the farthest edge of the earth, light not yet willing to commit. I slow just slightly, enough to feel the rhythm change, enough to hear the engine move from working to waiting. The air smells different now. Night heat has thinned. The breeze carries a cool dampness, the scent of wet earth and mown fields. Somewhere, maybe a creek or irrigation ditch, frogs lift their chorus, loose, sleepy, confident that dawn will solve everything. My headlights catch a shimmer of mist curving over the asphalt. It wraps around the truck and streams away in waves. For a moment, I drive blind through silver vapor, wrapped in the scent of water and fuel, surrounded by light that hides its source. The highway sign for the next town glows ahead. Exit 203, Maple Run, food fuel next right. I remember the place. A small stop by a grove of cottonwoods. Tiny cafe that serves eggs until 10 and cobbler until noon. I decide that's home for this night. That's nearly morning. The CB stirs again, almost shy. Redbird, that UIC taillights ahead. June's voice carries a yawn thick with static. Yeah, that's me, I say, pulling off at Maple Run. She smiles through the air. Good choice. They still make biscuits big as hubcaps. Meet you there. Always. Her laughter trails behind like a breeze, softer each second until only static remains. When the exit lane opens, I ease down gently. The truck's sighing around me, brakes warming, trailer leaning into gravity. We coast into a two-lane stretch lined with tall grass shining silver in headlight beams. Ahead, The truck stop flickers awake. Sodium lights painting the pumps gold. Rows of rigs already parked like sleeping giants waiting for the next call to move. I find an open space behind a line of reefers, angle and slow. Air brakes release, a final exhale. The dashboard hum quiets. Instruments blink themselves to rest. Outside, dew gathers along the mirrors, small droplets catching the faintest pink of imminent sunrise. I sit still for a long time, hands resting lightly on the wheel, listening to the way silence fills the cab once the engine stops. It's a big silence, not empty but complete. After 10 hours of vibration, stillness becomes its own kind of music. I hear footsteps crunching gravel, then a knock on the passenger side. June. She's small against the square of the window, baseball cap pulled low, coffee cup in one hand, a grin in the other. "Thought you might need this," she says when I open the door. Steam curls out into the cool air. The smell of fresh brew, darker, cleaner than the thermos kind, floats in, filling every corner of the cab. "You're a saint." She laughs. I get that a lot, usually by mile marker 204. We talk quietly, voices blurred by the faint hum of nearby generators. Nothing important, just the things people say to remind each other they exist. Weather, miles, rumors about road closures out west. Some conversations are made only of breath shared between the edges of the world. She finishes her coffee first, climbs back down, looking up at me through sunrise light. "You running far tomorrow?" "Just enough," I tell her. She nods. "That's the right distance." Then she's gone, boots clicking along the gravel back toward her rig. I watch until her silhouette melts into the shimmer of chrome and early light. The sky above her has turned soft rose, and the horizon breathes gold where night used to live. Inside the cab again, the warmth of lingering night still lives in the seat. I shut the door. The latch sounds like closure and comfort in one click. Outside, diesel engines idling nearby create a heavy lullaby, each note layered, each rumble weaving through the next until it becomes something close to ocean surf. I lean back. The air smells of fuel, coffee, cottonwood leaves, and that faint sweetness that always appears just before sunrise, maybe ozone, maybe relief. The logbook lies open on the passenger seat, blank page glowing in the low light. I scrawl the date, then pause halfway through the sentence. The pen floats just above paper, because what I want to write has nothing to do with miles. It's something like the road was kind tonight, but I let it stay unwritten. Some feelings already exist without proof. I turn off the dome light. The cabin melts into half dark. Outside the window, a thin layer of mist drifts along the parking lot, softening the edges of every machine. Headlights from another arriving rig cut through it, slow beams moving across my windshield like a blessing passing by. The bed behind me waits, blankets still warm from the earlier sun trapped in fabric. I crawl into it slowly, each movement releasing a pocket of scent, soap, cotton, and road dust. From here the world feels different. The ceiling of the sleeper glows faint orange from dashboard lights filtering back through vents. The rhythm of the idling engine next door creates a vibration that settles in my chest. I let it. Eyes half closed, I think of all the details that made this night whole. The taste of pie at May's Diner, Jimmy's laughter disappearing into static, June's coffee shared between light and dark, and the road, patient, endless, tender even in its roughness. The CB mutters once more, Soft static, a faraway voice saying something I can't quite catch. Maybe a good night. Maybe just the wind playing tricks on wires left humming. Either way, it feels friendly. I close my eyes fully now. Breathing slows to match the rhythm of unseen diesel pistons turning somewhere in the lot. The sound is steady, protective. 1,000 machines holding up one vast lullaby of motion waiting for morning. The world outside shifts shades. Gray to pearl to slow gold. Birdsong joins the hum like gentle percussion. Each note a reminder that rest is part of the journey, not an interruption. And just before sleep folds over, a single thought drifts through. Every road has its night of peace, a time when wheels find rhythm, when voices fall quiet, and the only thing left moving is the calm inside you. The hum deepens, the night finishes its long breath, and I drift with it, weightless, until even the highway itself sleeps. That's where my story ends tonight. If you'd like to hear more from the road, hit subscribe and rest easy, my friend.